Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hitting Hustle from IrishSportsDaily.com. I'm your host, Greg Flammang, and with me, in lieu of Jamie, is the Godfather, Mike Frank. Jamie is on site. Jamie is at the game, so he's going to be there, and so we are going to talk about it here. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Before we get going, I should mention one of our sponsors, ESQ Clothing. You've seen Guy Wang's fantastic bamboo dress shirts everywhere. They're odor resistant, wrinkle resistant, half stretch. It's hard to get through the ad reads when we
Sorry, Gaw.
sorry, God.
I'm sure he's
love
probably
you.
just as miserable as we are right now.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you for that. Check out our ESQclothing.com, ISD 15. You get 15% off your next purchase. Thank you, everyone, for being here so far. If you haven't caught our show, please hit the like button. Please hit subscribe. Please hit the notification bell. Obviously, one of the worst ways you can lose a game. It's literally the last play of the game. Notre Dame had about 5 or 6 opportunities to end it, and they didn't on every single one of them, and they lost the game. I should point out this. Thank you for the super chat, James. Amadei. I'm going to say it's very nice and best that I can. I don't blame Al Golden for this game, but at the same time, how do you give up an 80 or so drive, 2 minutes left in the whole stadium jacked?
Third and 19 and you rush 3,
We'll get to that. Mike, I'll just throw it up to you. What are your emotions in this moment?
Here we go again. Groundhog Day. Same thing. It happens over and over. And, I think that I just want to say I think the players played their ass off. You got to give all the credit in the world to Notre Dame's players. I mean, they played just on fire the entire game. And so you really have to be excited about this in that regard. I think that that's the most important thing to point out is that Notre Dame's players just laid everything they had into this game. And unfortunately, I think that there's some problems, with the coaching at the end. I'm sure we'll get to that. Just some questionable decisions. But look, I mean, this is a good Ohio State team. We knew it. It's a good defense. Notre Dame's, and a surprise to me, was able to, in the second half, run the football pretty well, obviously, and kind of took over the game. But they're just, the ending of this game just didn't make any sense, what they were trying to do. We'll go to the 4 minutes left to go in the game on 2nd and 15. After, first of all, why you have, actually the first down play, why do you have those guys in there at that time? 2 freshmen. I get, they've had a pretty good game in this type of thing. I don't understand that when Estime's been the guy that's kind of carried you and
he's your guy.
Yeah,
he is your guy. I mean, that's Audric Estime. He is the bell cow of your team. He just bulldozed them, and you take him out of the game, and you run a play that we haven't seen all year. Which, look, Jeremiah Love ran well tonight. Okay,
great.
It's not anything against him. Your stars are your stars, and you need to lean on your stars, and you didn't do it. So there's that. I just want to point that out, please.
Yeah, and it's so true. And then second down, you run a screen. I get the idea, right? You know that there's going to be some upfield pressure, but there's only 2 minutes left to go in the game. You picked up a first down. You need to make them lose their timeouts, and the only way to do that is to run the football. And if you run, then, hey, you got a new fresh set of downs, and it doesn't matter about that timeout. But if you don't run, then you throw an incomplete pass. It stops the clock. It gives them the opportunity at the end, because they had an extra timeout, to make the play to win the damn game. I just don't understand that. There were other things that, you're going to have questionable calls, and you're going to have things that are happening, but those didn't make sense. And then, of course, the 3rd and 19, you're finally consecutive plays, Greg, consecutive plays in a row. You're putting pressure on McCord. You're making him make mistakes. threw the bad pass to DJ Brown. And look, I mean, everybody who has been a fan of Notre Dame football for a long time saw that and immediately said Pete Bursich, and we all knew that.
you know you're going to lose at that point. You just know it.
How do you drop that pass? All right, and it's just frustrating because the moment was there, and not even that. The moment was there, but the team played their butts off. Just played so hard and so intense, and defensively, did a really good job. We were worried, Greg, about could they stop the run. They did a good job of stopping their run. They did a good job on Marvin Harrison, right? They did a good job in almost every aspect of the game. Played better than I think both you and I thought they would. And now I just feel like it was taken away from the players by some just really questionable decisions and frustrating. Very, very frustrating. But, this stuff happens. It happens too much. Shouldn't happen. I don't understand the last play, how you could be in that alignment, Greg. I don't understand. I don't understand that. They only have a yard to pick up. I mean, it was probably even less than a yard, and you're not defending the run. I just don't understand that at all.
They have three down linemen in the game. They're in nickel. They got Thomas Harper out there who's getting driven out of the end zone on the play. So you're just completely unprepared for them to run at you, and they're not doing it. Kevin Simonson says they had every opportunity to put the game away and didn't capitalize. OSU made the plays at the end. They did. I mean, look, I'm sick for DJ Brown. I am. It's terrible, and you just feel for him, right? Like, but at the same time, that's a play that you have to make it. You have to make the play. Like, it's 3rd and 19, and their quarterback made a throw, and their wide receiver made a catch. You have to make it. And so just like that's that. And there's so much to go. Like, there's so many things to point out. And I would just say, like, watching this game, it's 14-10. It's 14-10 with, 2 minutes left, and you got to hold them, or a minute 26, you got to hold them. Sam Hartman is 17-25 in this game. And look, this was a game plan we would have seen last year.
Yeah.
This is a game plan that they tried to run. This was the Tyler Buckner game plan. This is what they tried to run with him, with Sam Hartman as your quarterback.
I wrote down, when they scored on the 13-play drive, Greg, I'm like, you can't expect to continue to get 13 plays in a row and be successful against this. You have a quarterback that can throw the football, and the offensive line was giving him protection the entire game. I just don't understand, but it is, they had so many opportunities too. The other thing I want to say, and again, I'm not somebody who complains a lot about officiating, but my gosh, Greg, this is just getting out of control. And, I keep saying this, and it gets brought up every time, when this conference realignment comes around, and everybody's like, well, we don't want to be in a conference. We don't want to be in a conference. This is the result of not being in a conference. You have to use their officials on a lot of these games, and they're not going to do you any favors. It seemed like every play, Greg, they were short spotting the spot every single play. It was like a half yard every single play. If you go watch the replay, you'll see it. It's over and over and over. And it was just so frustrating to watch. And I mean, it's hard enough to win these games. With the officiating just killing you. It's how was the one play that Bertrand was called for pass interference on Henderson? Just the last series before, I can't remember who the DB was. Same situation, and Notre Dame gets doesn't get called for, or Ohio State DB doesn't get called for the same thing. Ran right into Notre Dame's receiver. Do you remember who that was? I can't remember. Ran right into him. It was the same play. They get the flag. Notre Dame doesn't get the flag. It doesn't make sense. I don't know, man. I'm just so frustrated, dude. I'm so frustrated.
There's a photo going around. Notre Dame has 10 on the field on the final play of the game.
Are you serious? They have 10?
They have 10. Because so I was thinking to myself, they have 3 down.
Yeah,
right?
That doesn't make sense. Yeah.
And I was like, they're in nickel, but you should have 4.
Absolutely.
And there's a photo. I'll bring it up. So we'll all count it together. Let's all count it together. Let's see here. All right, here we go. All right. Count them up, Mike.
Well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 10.
10 players. 10 on the field.
How can you do that? I mean, seriously, how can you do that?
It's the biggest play of the game. It's the biggest play. And look, and you're disorganized. There was a 3rd down earlier in the game. And there's a 3rd down earlier in the game. And on the 4th down stop. And this concerned me. Was this like, it's 3rd and 7 or 3rd and 6. And they completely turn loose this guy in the slot. Runs right down the field. No one knows who they're covering. No one knows who they're supposed to pick up. And
DJ Brown missed that. Is that the one you're talking
about? It is, but it looks like him. But I don't know that it's him. Like, I don't know what he's supposed to be doing. Like, someone isn't picking him up.
Totally.
And so it's just you're in a huge play, in a huge situation in the game, and you completely botch it. Sorry, I'm having to look, I don't care if Ohio State people are in here. If you're just going to flame the chat, then I'm going to
boot every one of them.
I'm just going to ban you. I don't
every one of them. Yeah. Every one of them.
So I it goes back to, and here's the thing too. It goes back to the start of the game where, they're controlling the ball and they're moving the ball. But Jamie and I talked about all week, you need explosive plays to win these games. Look at how Ohio State scored their 1 touchdown there. 61-yard touchdown. You need explosive plays to win and beat these types of teams. You cannot just say we are going to have 13 play drives consistently all the way down the field. You can't have it.
You'll get boat raced if you do that against USC.
You lost it on 4th and 1.
Yeah.
And look at the spot.
Horrible.
Where is the replay that shows him short?
Yeah.
Definitively short. It needs to be definitive, right?
Yeah.
It obviously wasn't. Okay. But where is the replay that shows that? But at the same time, David Sherwood, hold your block.
No doubt. No doubt.
Hold your block, please. Sam Hartman, you cannot be short.
No.
You
have to lay out for that. You have to lay out for that. I agree 100%.
Everyone hates on Ian Book. 100% of the time, he gets that 1st down.
I agree.
100% of the time. You have to get it. You have to get it. Okay? We're settling for field goals. We're missing 47-yard field goals. Schrader, you know what? He is going to lead the nation in missed 50-plus yard field goals. You got to make them.
3 out of 7? I mean, I'm sorry.
You got to make them. It's a big game. You lose.
Doesn't matter how strong your leg is. Doesn't matter if you miss.
You lose by 3 points. You got to make the field goals.
Terrible.
So and then there's another drive where you're messing up. And you're not getting points, and you feel like you got to miss points. And Notre Dame had so many chances inside the Ohio State 20-yard
half,
line,
especially
30-yard line, to end up with
a
14 points is just it can't happen. I understand. Look, the players played their butt off, 100%. I totally agree. These guys, they went out there and they put it all out there. Okay. You can't continue to blow these opportunities. And I said it in the pregame, or in the before I sent the preseason picks, Mike, when I gave my season prediction. I picked them to win this game, or I picked them to lose 27-24, 17-14. And I said it's going to be a moral victory, and they're going to rue the missed chances, of which there were plenty of missed chances.
Oh yeah,
over and over again, and they blew the game. The players, the coaches. I felt like Jared Parker, you're not using your quarterback.
No, I didn't understand that at all. I mean, seriously, Greg, the guy can throw the football. It would be one thing, Greg, if he wasn't getting pass protection. I mean, the offensive line played outstanding in this game, considering who they're going against, Greg. Who they're going against?
Yeah.
I mean, they played outstanding in this game. You bring this quarterback in to make these plays in these types of games, and then you don't let him throw the ball downfield. I just don't get it. And I think, look, I understand you want, and to be honest, the second half, it set up pretty well in that Notre Dame, dominated, and I felt, okay, their defense is going to be worn down. It's going to be worn down. And then they had that misplay on that last drive, Greg, on that first down call. Obviously, Audric picked up the first down on the first series, and then on the second series, your first down call, you do that, and it's like, what are you doing? You put your guy in jail at that point. And I mean, Sam Hartman is Sam Hartman. You got to use him to make those types of plays. And, I was wondering, well, are the receivers going to step up? Those guys stepped up. I mean, Greg, when was the last time we saw like a drop pass by Notre Dame's receivers?
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen. They're really doing a good job and running good routes, and you don't give him the ball. I just don't understand it. I really don't. But
Kirk DA Fitness, thank you for the super chat. Since we are the home team, why weren't ACC refs being used instead of Big Ten refs? The opposing team brings their refs.
Because if you're in a conference, right, you would bring your refs, but you're not in a conference. So there's, the ACC refs are coaching in an ACC game. So the only way to then take the refs is you got to take the opposing team's refs, because normally they'd be coaching a Big Ten team or Big Ten game. But since Ohio State's playing Notre Dame, they're the only referees that are available. And that's why you get stuck with this. And that's what I've been saying for a long time. This is the big downside of not having being in a conference. It just kills you. It just kills you on these terrible play calls. And I mean, the officiating has been there hasn't been one well officiated game in the 5 games they've played, Greg. Not one. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And it is what it is. So I don't know. I feel bad for Marcus. I think he had him ready. I think he had this. Everything was ready to go. They played a little tight in the first half, I thought, but they still played, and they played gutsy, and they played hard. They just played tight, missed some key tackles. That's going to happen. I get it. But man, I just can't believe they lost 3rd and 19. I sat there and I was like, this guy's going to rush 3. Are you kidding me? I was just like, what do you
I hate rushing 3. You're backing everyone in the end zone.
Exactly.
And of course they're just going to shout out, right? They're just going to catch it right in front of you.
Right every
I've
time.
seen it so many times. Like, I know exactly what's going to happen. And it's just know it. Like, they're going to catch it in front of you. They're going to be over the middle, and they're going to catch it in front. And kudos to Kyle McCord, who made the throw.
Gutsy
they
kid.
had to chase the game, and they had to do it. And I want to make a comment here. Jared says this wasn't on the refs. They weren't good, but the coaches let the players down. 100%. I don't think there was one call in this game that truly affected the outcome. Notre Dame had this game in their hands, both offensively and defensively, and they blew the game. There's no other way to see it. Okay. They absolutely did. Okay. It's not for a lack of heart or a lack of trying or whatever. The plays were there to be made, and they didn't make them. And that's just, it's not going to work. Jared says, 10 on defense at the end of the game. Marcus Freeman made a comment. We got to do better. I mean, we got to be better. I mean, yeah, you do. Like you
just lost a game by that decision.
You can't get there.
Or not decision, but just error.
Right.
I mean, who is that on? Is that on Washington? You know, I mean, obviously you were. I just don't know. I mean, how? I would assume Washington has to have the right players in the game. I don't know.
Marcus Freeman said they were missing a defensive end. How do you have? Because look, they couldn't go timeout. How do you not have a defensive end in the game? Especially when, because look, I'm looking at their formation. They have 2 wideouts and 2 tight ends. They're in 12 personnel. Why are you in nickel at all? Why are you in nickel?
I don't understand.
You don't need to be in nickel.
No, I don't understand it. I don't understand.
It's
not like JD Bertrand is going to have to chase somebody, 70 yards down the field like Henderson. You know what I mean? That's not going to happen. And I don't know. I don't understand it. I mean, it's just having 10 is just unbelievable. How could you only have 10 people out there?
Marcus Freeman says, don't want to take anything away from Ohio State, but we did not play as well as we could have.
We did not coach as well as we should have. That's what should have been said.
Here's the thing. I don't understand. You want to go win this game. And you, again, I don't know if I tweeted this, but I was texting people like, this is a Brandon Wimbush game plan. It's a Tyler Buckner game plan.
Yeah.
You have Sam Hartman on your team. I can't wait to look at the PFF numbers tomorrow and see the average depth of target, because it can't be far. It can't be anything. I mean, it's like you're featuring Mitchell Evans. Every pass in the first, like everyone's just standing there. It's to a guy who is standing there, not running away, not trying to be explosive, right? Think of every pass, with the exception of the one over the middle to Evans. Pretty much every pass is to someone who is standing there, literally just standing stationary, looking at the quarterback. Like, you want to be a top team, regardless. You want to be a team that can go beat,
Georgia.
Go on the road and beat Duke. You want to go and beat a team like USC and play with USC. You want to go on the road and beat Clemson. How are you going to win those games and be a dominant team if you're playing offense that way?
In today's game, especially with a running clock, Greg, 13 play drives, it's just, you're not going to be, there's not enough opportunities, and USC is going to score. They just have too much skill talent. You can't just sit and expect to continually, convert on 13 play drives and score a touchdown. You're going to have to push the ball downfield, and you're going to have to make some plays with your quarterback. And I couldn't agree with you more. I really couldn't agree with you more. I think that Jared Parker looked at the situation and said, we're running the football. We're wearing them down. We're doing all the right things. I get that. And in the second half, it worked out the way that he wanted. But that last drive, obviously, you just can't have what happened offensively on that last drive. You can't have it. And you can't have it on defensively on the last drive. And some players needed to make some plays there at the end, but certainly the coaches did not help them at all at the end of the game. I really don't understand it. I really don't.
Caleb Collins, thank you for the super chat. Says we choked and coordinators were mid. I don't like saying players choked. It is too negative a connotation. I don't like that. Okay.
Yeah.
There were plays to be made. They didn't make them. And that's no good. Can't have that. Can't have it in a game like of this magnitude. You need to go win the game. The game was there to go be won, and they didn't win. Someone asked earlier about the screen pass. Absolutely hated it. Maybe it works. I don't know. To me, you're throwing the ball in the backfield. You're throwing it to Darian Price. Get Audric Estime in the game. He is your guy. He's your guy. You need to get him in the game. He just bulldozed them. and you let them, what does Ohio State want? They just got bludgeoned. They are 1 first down away from running out
winning the game. Yes. Well,
They
all
are
you need is one first down.
And how happy is Ohio State to watch Audric Estime run off that field after one play? One play
where he
runs,
picks up a first down.
and you take him off the field.
Yeah.
He just bludgeoned you.
Yeah.
You take him off the field and you run a play where Sam Hartman's faking to this guy. He's doing all this stuff in the backfield that gets blown up. Then you throw the screen to Jadarian Price that JT Tolomau almost intercepts.
Yeah.
He's going to intercept it.
Yeah.
Frankly, given the way it ended, it would have been better if he intercepted because maybe they score quicker.
And you
get an offensive possession.
That's a good point.
He doesn't. And so the clock stops. They save a timeout. And then you run it again. You're never getting it.
That's the real thing, is the saving of the timeout. Because at the end of the game, Greg, if they didn't have that timeout, I mean, they would have ran out of time. They wouldn't have been able to do all the things that they did there at the end. And
then you have a chance to boom a punt.
Yeah.
And it's a mid to the 35.
Yeah. And then your captain gets a false start right there and walks it back 5 yards, and I just don't understand. The ending of the game was just like one catastrophe after another. And the crazy thing is the players were playing their hearts out, but they just catastrophe after catastrophe after catastrophe. It's like they're cursed, right? And it just is what it is. And I don't know. What are you gonna do?
So Bry Guy says, I've never felt like a team controlled the game so much and didn't lead until the fourth and lost the game. Someone make a play. Here's the other thing. Notre Dame defensively, 2 tackles for loss, 1 sack. I know the defense played well from a
numbers,
kept the points down. And look, at the end of the day, that matters a lot. It matters a ton.
If you're going to hold Ohio State to 17 points, you should have a chance to win the game.
You should win the game. You absolutely should. At the same time, they're getting first downs. They're holding the ball, and you're not. Look, Notre Dame isn't creating short fields. Where was the short field Notre Dame got in this game? None. Didn't happen. You're not creating turnovers.
No.
You're not sacking them. You're not putting them behind the sticks. You're not doing any of that. I mean, look, it's great that they stopped them on 4th and 1. It truly is. But you leave them 99 yards. There was another down where it's like they stop them. And it's you stop them 4th and short. And at the time of the game, that's great. Like where they did, it's like 3 minutes left in the game, you stop them on 4th down, they don't score. Any stop there is good. Right. But it's not like it's a short field situation. They had another one where they downed the punt at the 2-yard line. Like, it's hard to go and score and do good offense in these situations. Now they went down and did it, but it takes you a long time. Like, you have to create big plays. You have to create big plays offensively, and you have to create big plays defensively. They didn't do that. They didn't have a ton of havoc in this game. They were fortunate that Kyle McCord is just not that guy. And they turned him into that guy late in the game because you just keep giving them chances because you're not scoring. I just, like, to me, I'm watching this game and I'm thinking to myself, it'd be great if they won, but this was not a good performance. It is not. It was not. It could have been a great win, but it was never a good performance. They had some players who played well, but units just, it wasn't there for me. Go ahead.
Did you see the Agent 49er posted, guys, ND only had 10 players on the field the last 2 plays? If it was 2, I would be like, I don't know.
So here's the thing. So I haven't gone back and looked.
I haven't either.
But there was a situation that the same situation was, they lined up and I thought, that looks like they have a hole on the right.
Yeah, I saw the
on
same
the
thing.
defense is right.
Yeah.
And I thought that's no good. Like I thought that's weird. But then I thought, I don't know, like it's all happening very fast and the way they ran the ball. And they had called a timeout though.
Yeah.
They called a timeout.
Yeah, so if they only had 10 after a timeout, that would be crazy.
2 plays, you don't have players on the field.
If that's the truth, then wow. I mean, that's just wow. I mean, that's just unbelievable. I just, and the sad thing, Greg, is there's so much positive to take from this game. There's so much positive. They did so many good things in this game. And look, I mean, they just picked up a commitment from CJ May, so obviously the atmosphere had to be electric. I mean, you could just tell from the audio on the broadcast that had to be one of the loudest Notre Dame games. People just had an unbelievable. So there's a lot of things, there's a lot of things to be excited about, but my gosh, I'm telling you, if that's true, if they only had 10 players on for both of the last 2 plays, that would really shock me. And we know for a fact it was 1. And to me, even 1 is too much, especially on a critical play like that. But what are you going to do?
So I need to point this out from Clontarf here. O-line was excellent. 100%.
Agree.
0 sacks.
Excellent.
Only 2 tackles for loss for Ohio State. I'm going to look this up because I want to make sure. Let me see. Offense. Notre Dame. 39 carries, 176 yards. And you're getting nothing from the quarterback on this stuff.
Yeah.
That will win you the game. You give up no sacks, it'll win you the game.
Should have won the game.
That's the thing. How can you have that? How can you have those numbers and you score 14 points? The answer is that you're not throwing the ball. You're not taking chances with the ball. You're not trying to be explosive. You're not stressing them. That is the answer. You can't have that. It can't be. So,
again, and I saw somebody in the chat said, "Hey, we need to be less, harsh on the coaches." But it's now been shown. I think one of our colleagues, Pete Sansman, just put up both plays on Twitter. I'm sorry, man. If you have 2 plays at the end of the game where you only have 10 people on the field, I mean, how could you not say that's terrible coaching? That's horrible coaching. And they stole the game from the players who played the butts off. You just can't make that mistake. 1 time, hey, stuff happens. 2 times in a row after a timeout, Greg, after a timeout.
It's unfathomable.
Yeah. It is.
It's unfathomable that you would have a mistake like that in that moment. Yeah. I mean, I don't know, not too harsh. I don't know what they want us to say. What should we say about that? You didn't have enough players out there. What are you doing in the timeouts? You don't have enough players in the game. How can that be? I don't know what they want us to say.
I don't know, but this has been something, it just is what it is. And I understand that look, and again, I keep going back to it because I think it's important to point out that, I mean, these guys played their butts off, man. They deserve to win this game. They really played hard, and for the most part played mistake-free. They didn't do stupid things in the game that would cost you the game. They didn't turn the ball over. They didn't have dumb penalties. They played a pretty darn clean game, and your offensive line played well. Your defensive line stopped them be running the football. Gosh, Greg, if you would have told me that to start this game, I would have said, well, Notre Dame wins. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Notre Dame wins. How do they not win? I don't understand. I don't know.
Thanks for the super chat, Jared.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, and I think Marcus is right. You got to credit Ohio State. They made the plays at the end of the game when it mattered. They just did. And you know, it's frustrating. It just is. And we've been doing this for so long, Greg, and it would seem like it was one of those moments where it was finally going to happen. Finally. And it was taken away from them. And it's just very, very hard. Very, very hard to deal with. So
for sure. I understand Paven B. It's a 60-minute game, not 2 plays. I understand. See, the thing is that Marcus has a contract for $6 million, $7 million. This is what the money's for. You need to have the right amount of players in the game.
Well, yeah, you just need to be able to count. Yeah,
like,
you need to be able
I understand, right? Like, I'm on here. If they do a good job, I'll say they did a good job. If you did a bad job and you don't have enough players on the field in the last 2 plays of the game, then yeah, I'm going to say that's bad job. It's a big deal. It's a big problem if you don't have enough players on the field.
Ohio State had 11 players on the field.
I'm just saying, like, I mean, it can't. That
a lot,
can't
didn't
be.
they? I mean, Ohio State had 11 players on the field at the most important critical time.
I don't know what else I'm supposed to say. Like, it's literally just.
I get it. I mean, I think a lot of people just don't want to be just wallow in the misery, and I get it. I totally get it. It's tough. It's tough, but I mean, you ask Greg. Before we started this show. He got to see the angry Mike, you know what I mean? And he hasn't really seen the angry Mike, but Mike was pretty angry. I was definitely angry. And but at the same time, I do see some positives in this. There's definitely a lot of positives to be excited about. But this you can't have this kind of thing happen at the end of the game when it's the most critical time. And I think that's really what Greg and I are harping on is that you coached, you did a great job for the most part for 59 minutes. It's just that last minute, I don't know what was happening, but a lot of mistakes were made. I'd say really the last 4 minutes, there were a lot of mistakes made. And I don't know.
I mean, so here's the thing. They played, it was just like, honestly, I didn't like the game plan on offense, period. I didn't like the game plan on offense.
I agree.
It was a game plan that allowed them to have 14 points with 3 minutes left in the game, at which point they were done trying to score. Okay. That was the game plan. I didn't like it, period. I didn't like what they were doing. I didn't like they didn't take chances. Okay. I didn't like that. I thought the defensive plan was fine, right? They needed to do more pressuring the quarterback. They needed to create more havoc. Those are new. That's a new offensive line there. And they outplayed the defensive line in the passing game. Okay?
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it.
No,
with 3 minutes left, they get a first down to Flores. They get a first down to Estimate. I mean, we've been over it. I just didn't. You had a chance to salt the game away, and they had a chance to salt the game away, and they took Estimate out of the game. I didn't like that, and so I didn't like when they rushed 3. I mean, the hard part is that they could have overcome all of this if DJ Brown just intercepts the ball.
Yeah, exactly.
You do it right to him. You have to catch it. You have to catch it. You have to catch the ball that lands in your hands. CFB Hertz says, if not now, then when? Apparently never. Here's $5 for Irish Sports Daily NIL Fund. Maybe it'll make a difference. Thank you, awesome. CFB Hertz.
That's awesome. Yeah, again, first of all, we do want to say thanks to all the members that come here and deal with this, and it's nice that there is some humor here now too. Now and again, you got to be able to laugh at some point. It's a frustrating situation, and what can you do? And Look, I saw a question earlier. Somebody said, Mike and Greg, how does this change? What does Marcus need to do? Well, I mean, you need to go to your defensive coordinator and your defensive staff and say, how is it possible that we have 10 people, and then say, this will never happen again, because people should be fired if this happens, and especially at such a critical time. It's I'll say this, and the one thing that I will say about it, the one thing I will say about this situation is Notre Dame's a good football team. Even though they lost this game, they're still a good football team. And you know what, Greg? They're a better football team when they let Sam Hartman throw the football, and hopefully we'll see that. I hope that if there's anything that Jared Parker learned from this game, is that it's nice when you have a great running game. It's wonderful. It's great to wear down a defense. But when you're playing a team that has the ability, like they do, Greg, where, it comes down to a last drive, they just have the superior athletes to win on those one-on-one matchups too many times, especially with the game on the line. You don't want to get in that situation where they have their offense has the ball, at the very end of the game. That's not the situation you want to be in when all they need is a touchdown to win. And I agree with you. I don't think the game plan allowed for anything other than that occurrence to happen. I mean, let's be honest. Notre Dame had to play damn near perfect and mistake-free just to even be in this game because of the game plan. Obviously there was, they didn't convert on some things on third down and those types of things. But again, you just can't go 13 plays and expect to do that against really great teams. And, them having the ball at the end of the game is not an ideal situation. Notre Dame needed to have the ball at the end of the game. They had it at the end of the game. They just gave it up based off of what Greg and I felt were two very questionable decisions. And it cost them. It definitely cost them. So
I can't believe that people are wanting, like us not like to like overlook the fact that you got 10 players on the field on the last 2 plays of the game. I can't believe that.
I think that is one. I think most people, if you read I think most people understand. I think it's just the one person, and I understand.
But okay. So here, this is what I want to ask you then, because sure. Duke's coming.
Oh, absolutely. And they're a good football team. They are way better than I thought they were.
Notre Dame is going to Duke. What do you think? How do you think this sets up Notre Dame? Not just the fact that they lost, but like the way that the game was played. How do you think this sets up the team from here?
Well, I hope that Notre Dame learns something here, because look, Duke's got a pretty good defense. I mean, people can laugh all they want, but Mike Elko's a very good coach. They got a pretty good defense, and Notre Dame's not going to be able to just go walk in there and pound it down their throat, right? They're going to have to be able to move the football. And I just hope Jared Parker learned some things in this game that, hey, we're going to have to take some chances. And by the way, the receivers, I felt, stepped up and did what they needed to do in this game, and I thought the offensive line did a really good job in this game. So if you have those two things and you've got a quarterback, you better start using your quarterback. And I really hope that that's what they've learned after this experience, because Greg, if they haven't learned that, when they play USC, it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be the same thing. It's going to be very difficult to win. And oh, by the way, Clemson's starting to find an offense too. They're starting to find some offense as well. That's not going to be an easy game either. So I really hope that if they learned anything from today's performance, they learn that, hey, we need to put the ball in the quarterback's hands. He's the best player we have on offense. We need to let him make plays, and it doesn't need to be just about the running game. And anybody who knows me knows I love to run the football. All right, I love to run the football. I think you have to be good at it to win these types of games. But when you have a quarterback who's an elite player, or at least I don't know if he's elite, but he's pretty damn good, you have to give him the ball, Greg. You have to let him win the game. And you certainly don't take out your best player as far as the running game goes, on the last drive. I don't know. That's what I hope they learn. Now, what do you think, Greg?
Well, so okay. Jamie and I talked about this. The running game is helped by the passing game.
Sure.
How many times did we see Lathan Ransom crashing down?
Oh, big time.
And just absolutely bludgeoning Notre Dame's running backs over and over again. He has no reason to think that Notre Dame is going over his head.
Yes.
That's the point. You have to make him think that. You cannot let him just crash down every single time. You can't. Like, that is the point. That is the point of football. Everything depends on that. You have to be able to threaten them. You have to make them feel nervous. You have to make them feel that you are dangerous, that you can affect them. Look at the way that Ohio State plays with their wide receivers. Like, that clearly affects them. Okay? It clearly affects Notre Dame's secondary. Like, you are choosing to allow these defenders to come down on you. Of course it's going to be harder. Like, think of how much better Notre Dame's running game can be if every time the Notre Dame backs get the ball, there's not a safety 2 yards post line of scrimmage waiting for them.
Yeah.
Like, that is the point. Like, the offensive line is playing great. How can they be affected by a running game that doesn't feel like, oh, there's a safety right here that no one accounts for? Like, that is the point. Like, I don't understand why you want to have Sam Hartman on your team and you call a game plan that was I swear this was last year's game plan. How was it different in terms of style? It wasn't. It completely wasn't. And there you are with 14 points at the end of the game. And you need, all they need is one drive to win the game. Ohio State, Notre Dame played Ohio State. They hit one explosive and had one drive to win the game. That was all they needed to beat you.
Yep.
That's the problem.
I agree 100%. And here's the thing here's the problem with the running game as I see it, Greg. Because of the way they set this up, you get a lot of first down runs for no yards or 1 yard, second down runs for 1 yard or no yard, and then Audric Estime will rip off 11 or 12 yards. And so the running game looks good because Audric or Jeremiah Love is picking up 14 yards a carry, but he's picking up 1 or 2 the other times, and that's what puts the offense in jeopardy because they're behind schedule a lot of times when on first down they only pick up 1 yard. So now you're in 2nd and 9. But if you throw the ball downfield, as you say, especially if you're throwing stuff in the seams where Ransom is there, that's his area he has to defend. He can't keep crashing so hard down there on the running game. And so, then if, let's say we pick up something on first and we pick up, like an inside slant, Greg. All right. We pick up an inside slant and then we pick up 17 yards. Well, now all of a sudden he can't keep crashing down like that. And so that next play, Jeremiah Love may be able to completely blow up something there, just right, like we saw with their big explosive play that, if was it DJ Brown who missed the tackle there? I think it was it DJ Brown?
Yeah,
I think it was DJ Brown. But I mean, that's a tough open field tackle, but because they were able to spread Notre Dame out a little bit, you can't have those safeties keep coming down like that.
Oh, you mean on the touchdown?
Yeah.
It was Watts.
Was it Watts? Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah. that was a complete botched job by Marist.
Yeah.
You can't so he has to win on the outside shoulder of the offensive lineman, so that play cuts up. And if the play cuts up inside of the tackle, then if the play cuts up inside the tackle, then Bertrand will be there, and it'll be like a 1 yard gain, maybe.
Yeah.
But instead, he gets out of him, and Watts is coming down from a bad angle, and basically
That's what it was. Yeah.
He's basically racing him to the spot, and he didn't get there in time.
Yeah.
Okay. He should make the tackle, but
Yeah.
he's in a bad spot. He's very compromised there.
Totally. Yes.
Marist has to hit on the other shoulder of that, and it can't get outside of him. The only thing that can happen is it can't get outside of him. That's it.
Yeah.
I wanted to recognize Ryan McDonald for the super chat. Thank you very much, Ryan. Thanks for doing the show. Shattering loss. Very bad decisions at the end, but the future is bright. This team plays hard for Coach Freeman. They need to make a statement next week. And here's the thing. Here's what the statement's going to be. They're actually they're going to throw the ball next week.
Oh yeah,
they're going to do that. They're going to play in a completely different way, and it's going to be frustrating for me. And I think they'll probably play much better. Yep. You know, and they probably will.
You'll see a more explosive offense because of it. And you know what, Greg? And they need to do that because they're going to need that same offense against USC to have any chance to win. They just will. And they should have. I agree with you 100%. That's where in this game you got to make some explosive plays. That's what wins the big games is these explosive plays. You know, if Henderson doesn't make that play, then the running back. Yeah, if he doesn't make that play, it's a totally different game. You know, and it's kind of like when I always go back to that 2005 Notre Dame USC game. The difference in that game is one player, Reggie Bush, right? Yeah. If Reggie Bush, if he's not on that field, then Notre Dame wins that game going away. But it's just one extra player that can make you hurt from any spot on the field, and they just design plays. I mean, I'll never. It's hard to watch that. You know, Derek Curry trying to run with Reggie Bush on that play, and that's just what it is. You gotta create opportunities for your skill players to make some big plays, and too much nickel and dime on this. 13 plays is just tough. It's tough for any offense, no matter how good you are and how good your offensive line play is. It's hard to do something well 13 times in a row, especially when the opposition's pretty good too. So frustrating, Greg.
I mean, some good designs out there. If you've got a website, Mike, that you want to have a good design, you've got some explosive plays. Let's say you're a football player and you've got some explosive plays that you want to highlight, then you want to contact Vahid Saad at VSR Media. He's a Notre Dame football pregame host and Emmy Award-winning anchor. VSR Media provides professional and cinematic video and photo. Whether you're looking for a collegiate or pro-level highlight reel, have a personal story to tell, or are aiming to diversify and grow your business, VSR Media specializes in short and long-form video storytelling, social media management, and website design. VSR Media also captures professional headshots, senior and sports photos. Contact them at vsrmediacompany.com. Mention Irish Sports Daily and receive 20% off your first project. Visit them online or give them a call at 574-800-9106. I don't know. I don't know how many times we have to see this. It's ever since the I'm telling you, Mike, it's ever since the 93 Florida State game. This is what it is. You know, the BC game ends like it does. The very next home game, the Michigan game ends like it does. The USC game, 2005, ends like this. 2014 FSU ends just like this.
I wonder if Notre Dame would have won the game if they would have had 11 players on the field. I don't know.
It's just I mean, it's just one of those mistakes. Like, you just can't have it. Yeah. You just can't. It cannot happen. I don't like. It's almost besides the point of what it means. It's like a microcosm of the whole thing. Like, the players are playing. They're playing as hard as they can, and there's mistakes out there. And then the last two plays, there's 10 guys on the field. And you can't use a timeout because the coach called a timeout and you don't have any left. And then they come back and they come out on the field after the timeout and you've got 10 out there. And I'll tell you right now, I don't think they knew. Marcus Freeman says that they were trying to send someone out there. I don't think he knew, because after the incomplete pass, it's not like they didn't have time to run someone out there.
Yeah.
They clearly knew, or they clearly had time. I don't think they knew. After the first play.
I don't think they had that. How could you? You know what I mean? How could you? Because if you think that you would know,
coaches,
yeah.
You have 100 coaches up in the box.
Yeah.
Someone should say, like, hey, we only have 10.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to me too, Mike. Like Notre Dame. Let me do this. Here we go. I'm going to look up the stats again. Notre Dame runs the ball 39 times. Estimate 14 touches.
I don't get that at all.
It's incredible.
Yeah. I don't get that. I will say he wasn't overly effective early, so I can sort of understand. They were looking for some guys to hit some big holes or, some big plays, but he's still your best player. Somebody wants to know how would I handle the defensive staff with 2 consecutive plays? Look, guys make mistakes. There's no doubt about it. And, Marcus Freeman's not a guy that's just going to pull somebody in there. Definitely be in that room. And I would say this will never happen again, or people will be losing their jobs. And I would say, by the way, it is your responsibility, meaning whoever that person is. And by the way, this other guy is there also, and it's his responsibility. So if both you guys screw it up, then you're both going to be fired. It just doesn't make any sense. And again, there was no timeout. I understand why you call a timeout on the second one right before. I get it. You want to kind of get set up and everything. But at the same time, it sure would have been nice to have that timeout after the last play play, because that's the one that you need to make. You knew that they were going to make 2 plays there. They had to, Greg, because, they had 7 seconds. So again, these are split-second decisions. Everybody, it's easy to second guess. It's easy to second guess. But I'm sorry, folks. There's just no excuse for 2 plays in a row where you only have 10 players. There's just none. And I just, I think that's the thing that Greg and I've kind of harped on a lot of things. But again, I just don't want to take away from the performance of the players. And I just hope folks look at that and say, because Greg, so many times we've been in these games and the team just didn't even show up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And under the previous staff, that happened way too many times. That just doesn't happen under Marcus Freeman anymore. He's kind of got this whole thing figured out. They just need to make some plays. But to be honest with you, the players I felt made enough plays to win this game. I just feel like at the end, the coaches just didn't do a good enough job. And I don't want to put it all on the coaches. There's no doubt about it. If Coogan goes out there and he picks up Tui, whatever, however you pronounce that guy's name, if he picks that guy up on that particular block, maybe that play goes big. I don't know. But he gets the guy gets upfield and he blows up that play, and now you're in jail, and that's just part of it. But it's a tough block. I think with the game on the line, right, Greg? With a game on the line, that's a tough block because they're going to be coming hard. They know that you're trying to run the football, right? They know that. So I don't understand why you're pulling somebody up there for this kick-out block on that type of a situation when they're just going to be coming, because they know that you're trying to run the ball. You're trying to run out the clock. So, I would have liked to see more of a straight ahead, let's run some power and let's try and ice this game away. But it is, it's easy to second guess. I think the good thing that we take away from this, Greg, is that, man, this team's a good football team. They're a good football team, and they should have won this game. They didn't. They're going to learn from it. They're going to be a better team because of it. I think if anything, this helps in recruiting. I don't think it's going to hurt them that they lost the game the way they did, although now that this is going to get out that there was only 10 players on the field, I'm sure that there'll be some questions about that. But I bet that doesn't happen ever again. It better not ever happen again. And so, I think that they're going to learn from this. And I am extremely frustrated for the players. I'm extremely frustrated, and for the fans, because by all accounts, the fans did their part on this job too. They certainly showed up today, and it shouldn't have ended this way. It just did, and it just continues to do it. And until you get the monkey off your back, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, look, a part of me thinks, look, the players did like everything you just said, like they played their butts off, right? And you want to give them credit for that. Like they played, they certainly didn't pucker, to the moment. But at the same time, like you do have to go win the game.
Yeah,
you have to go win the game, and it's just they at the moment when it was time to win the game, they didn't do it.
Yeah.
And it has to stop happening. It has to stop happening. I mean, you're sitting there.
You're never going to get over the hump unless you win.
Here's the thing: 3rd and 19, right? Someone go make a play. Somebody make a play. Like, look, we've been talking about this defense and this defensive backfield all year. It's 3rd and 19. Make a play. Like, you have to make the plays. 4th and 9. Make a play. The ball on the one drive. It was a field goal drive. The ball's tipped up in the air. Who catches it? Their guy.
Yeah.
Pick
that
it
was
off.
A critical play. Yeah, exactly.
You gotta make plays. And the same goes on offense too. Like you have the play where they blow it up. One first down away, and you will run out the clock. They will not get the ball back. You're one first down away. Make a play.
No doubt. No doubt.
Like don't let the defensive end just crash into you. Sam Hartman, don't freak out. Don't freak out and eat the ball and just just completely blow up everything. At that point, Notre Dame is in control. They are going to win. And they just completely, from then on, they didn't make any plays after that. Like they did play hard. They absolutely did. You got to make the plays to win the game.
Yep.
So that's the thing that worries me, and it's just like it's frustrating. It happens every year, every single year. Like I since 1993, Mike. Literally.
You're not telling me something I don't know, brother.
30 years.
Dang sure.
30 years of this.
Oh, it's the most frustrating thing in the world. But somehow you got to fix it. I don't know how. I just.
What do you think for the rest of the year, Mike?
I just pulled up the schedule, and I'm looking at that Duke game's not going to be easy. There's no question about it. Louisville's better than I thought they were, at the beginning of the year. That's probably not an easy game. USC, certainly not going to be an easy game. I think Pittsburgh they should boat race them, but Clemson's not going to be easy. And obviously Wake Forest and Stanford, they should win, but we've seen Notre Dame go out in Stanford and just play terrible almost every time they've played out there. So, all I do know is I really think that if we have the head coach that I think that we have, Greg, I think you're going to see a lot of the issues that we saw yesterday, or not yesterday, today. I think we're going to see a lot of those things fixed moving forward. There's still some issues with this team, though. There's no doubt about it. you're going to need to pass rush. And look, if you think that defending Kyle McCord is something, wait till you have to try and tackle Caleb Williams. I mean, that dude's just strong. You can't just disrupt him. You have to get him on the ground, and Notre Dame just has not done a good job of doing that. So that concerns me heading into that game, and it's been the one that I've been the most concerned about the whole year. I actually thought they had a better chance to beat Ohio State than I do USC, and we'll see. But that one scares me. I think they'll go out next week. I think they're going to play well. I think that they'll win, but I do think it's going to be a close game because I think Duke's better than people think. And, Notre Dame will probably win by 10, I suppose, or, maybe 14. But it's going to be a tough fought game. And we just got to hope that they can get healthy. But the other thing, Greg, they got to start creating some turnovers. I mean, you just can't win games. You can't. I mean, a guy posted earlier in the chat, and he's like, we completely dominated the second half. We lost because we didn't complete one pass, and that's why we lost. Well, think about that. I mean, you basically have to play perfect. If that's the way, you know what I mean? If the only reason you lost was because of one incomplete pass and you dominated, that just does not compute. And so, they need to figure out ways to score. And these 12-play, 13-play drives with a running clock anymore, you can't have it. You're going to have to throw the ball to set up the run. And then, if you throw the ball to set up the run, you're going to have some big, giant holes. I talked to Yama about this on Power Hour too. I don't like, and Reese did this and it drove me nuts. I don't like having so many people inside the box there when you're trying to run the football. There's just way too many players in there. And you can't get explosive plays from a guy like Jeremiah Love because there's just too many players for him to avoid. So I'm hoping that they'll be able to throw the football, Greg, spread teams out, get some safeties to back off, and then when you run the football, you give it to Jeremiah Love, and then he has an opportunity like Henderson did in this game to where he can score from 70 or 60 yards or whatever. That's the kind of offense that they need to start gearing towards, this kind of ground and pound 13-play drives against a team like USC. That you're going to be in the same situation as you were tonight if you try and play that way against USC. You're going to have to make some plays. You're going to have to make some plays downfield. And I really hope that that's what we see. What do you think? You got faith in that?
I mean, to be honest, after tonight, I don't know. Like, they didn't. You want to be like, here's the thing. You want to be that team. You want to be that team, that dangerous team. And you want to, how are you going to play any good team you play? Like, you come out in this game and you play, I don't want to say not to lose. Like Marcus Freeman says, I want those guys to, like, right before the game, he says, I don't want them to play like they're going to make a mistake. I don't want them to play like they're scared to make a mistake. And then you go out there and you call that kind of a game. Not trying to take chances down the field. Like, not trying to open it up and giving Sam Hartman the ball. I don't know how to take this comment. Greg looks how I feel, 30 years of frustration. I don't know what that means. I do feel like we should point out.
Yeah.
This is a good comment by Coach Humph. Javonte Jean-Baptiste, absolute beast tonight.
That good point. Yes, very much so.
I predicted he was going to have a great game, and he absolutely did. He led the team in tackles. He led the team in this is coming up. Come on. He led the team in tackles. He led the team. I mean, 1 quarterback hurry for him, which is not great, but it's still something. 3 solo tackles, 1 quarterback hurry. I mean, you got 2 quarterback hurries all game. That's not going to get it done. But good job by him. Good job by Javonte.
No,
Jean-Baptiste.
and you know,
Great
and he's
game.
really turning into a very solid player. I mean, he
Absolutely.
really is. He really
Howard
is.
Cross,
That's a
great
very
game.
good point. Yes, very good point, Coach. I agree.
What I will say about Jeremiah Love is that he's going to be a great football player.
Oh, no doubt.
He is going to be a great football player. The way that he ran tonight, you can just tell he is going to be very good.
Yeah.
Very, very good. I don't like how they approach this game. I don't like how they set about trying to win this game offensively. They almost did because the defense got enough stops and held them out of the end zone enough to where it was like 2 scoring drives was going to get it done. 2 scoring drives.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
No,
with Sam Hartman on your team. That's ridiculous. That can't happen against anyone. And that's the point of having him. We need to figure out what's going on with Jaden Thomas. I don't think he came back in after he had the ankle or whatever was going on.
Somebody said that he mouthed hamstring to the trainer when they showed him. Yeah. So, and you know how that is, Greg. That's a terrible injury to have in the middle of the season.
If it's a hamstring,
yeah, especially for a guy like him. Yeah.
If it's a hamstring, then he won't play next week.
No, may not play.
He probably won't play against Louisville.
I agree.
And then we'll see. I thought it was more of an ankle.
Yeah.
Just the way that he was grabbing, but maybe it's a hamstring. I don't know. I didn't see that. And by the way, no Deion Colsey tonight.
Yeah. Again. I didn't see him in there.
In my opinion, there's an injury situation there, in my opinion. Because he would have played. He would have played in this situation. He hasn't played poorly. So Jaden Mickey, didn't see him in the game at all. Maybe hurt. I don't know. Everyone says hammy.
Yeah.
Everyone's saying hammy.
And they could use him. He's a damn good tackler. He's one of the few they have in the secondary that can tackle.
Yeah.
So I thought Ben Morrison played a hell of a game. I really did. We didn't mention that. So we need to mention that.
I mean, look, Ben Morrison is an absolute star.
The guy played an amazing game. Yeah, he really did. You know, he had the one bad play. And I thought the interference on him was kind of a ticky-tack thing. Lord knows that certainly happened on the other end, them doing that to Notre Dame constantly. But, I thought he really played really, really well. And look, man, that guy made some money today. I think he made some money.
Star.
Because I guarantee everybody's going to look at that and go, wow, that kid's going to be a hell of a player. Because if you can do that to Marvin Harrison, and it wasn't just Marvin Harrison, he was on Mbuka sometimes, he was on Flammang, he's a good player. He's a very good player. So,
yeah. Brian Walsh says, change the song to Onward to Moral Victory. Here's the thing. I just don't regard this as any kind of moral anything. Like, I don't think Ohio State is good. Like, just straight up. Like, I'm watching the game. I don't think they're good. And afterwards,
I don't think they're good yet. Yeah. I think they will be later, but yeah.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
They weren't great tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they're a good team tonight. I'm concerned that Notre Dame might not be good.
Mm-hmm. I think they're good. I just don't think they're great.
I think those are two teams. That can compete hard.
Yeah.
And they're gonna, they're great, good players and that sort of thing. I mean, it's kind of a relative comment.
They're both top 10 teams for sure. I think I really do think that both teams are top 10 teams. I'm just not sure either is a top 5 team.
It's a relative comment, I suppose, but it's just like I'm not sitting here saying like, oh, Notre Dame is like definitely better than Ohio State. Like, it's not that I think that. I don't think any team is any great shakes is right now. In this game, I didn't think. I don't like I am really down. Let me tell you something. If Notre Dame played Washington tonight with this game plan, they would have got run out of the building.
Yeah.
They would have absolutely gotten run out of the building. Okay. If Notre Dame couldn't handle Kyle McCord on that last drive, wait till you see those Washington guys. They're doing something real. Okay. Now look, I really don't like the way Notre Dame called the game offensively. I don't like what their plan was. And so that concerns me. Just full stop. It really concerns me for if they need to if a good defense, like if Duke puts up 24 points next week, I really hope that they are ready to like actually field an offense that is worthy of scoring some points. And maybe they won't, right? Like maybe there's just something about Ohio State that kind of freaks them out a little bit. But I don't like the way that they played offensively. I think they'll play a little bit different against USC because they obviously best to.
Well, and they also saw what playing today got them. Nothing. You know, playing the way they did today got them nothing. So,
Pavin, who's Notre Dame's best victory against? Are we really looking at like what they did against NC State now is like good? Like NC State was ready to lose that game to Virginia, who's terrible. Yeah. So I don't know. I just think the way that they played and the way that the game was called and the way that they put them in position, maybe I'll sleep on it, right? And maybe on the morning after recap, I'll feel different tomorrow morning. And maybe that's true. But right now, as I was watching the game, even as they were about to win the game, I was thinking, I am not heartened at all by the way they're playing offensively. And I wasn't. I didn't like anything I looked at. The only thing you could say, but before you go, the only thing I could say is the offensive line definitely showed something tonight. Like really showed something.
That's the thing. And you know, I was encouraged by the O-line and the wide receivers, Greg. And those were the two things I had the biggest concern about going into this game. You know, if you read my comments before, I said these are the two things that concerned me the most in this game. They played fantastic. They really did. They played easily well enough to win. The problem was, as you mentioned, I just didn't like the play calling. I sat there and I'm like, 13 plays. You're not going to be able to continue to go 13 plays against a team like this over and over. And guess what? They weren't. They only scored 14 points, right? Because they can't go 13 plays. Nobody can. It's very hard to play a good team and expect to have 13 play drives end in a touchdown. It's just very, very difficult for that to happen. So
I'm gonna read you this stat, Mike.
All right.
This just kind of illustrates what I'm talking about. Okay, this is from the Notre Dame football stats and analytics guys. Who are working for the Athletic now. They have a column in the Athletic. In 2022 against Ohio State with Tyler Buckner in that offense in the opener, 34% early down pass rate, 44% overall pass rate, 0.11 EPA per pass. Okay. In 2023 tonight, 37%. Early down pass rate, up 3%, 39% overall pass rate, up or down. Oh, what was it?
It was 43 to 39.
Oh yeah, down slightly, down 5%.
Yeah,
overall, 0.45 EPA per pass. They threw the ball less often with Sam Hartman at quarterback than they did last year.
It is what it is, Greg.
I'm just like, that's it. It concerns me. Like I don't like that happened. I don't like it. I didn't like it at the time. I didn't like it when they were about to win the game. And I don't obviously like it now.
I agree. And as we talked about, you can't you can't continue to play that way and win against the best teams. And I think it's going to be a learning experience. You have to remember this is Parker's first year as a offensive coordinator. You're taking chances when you have a guy like this, and it's the first time he's ever done this. And I think he got excited when he saw that they were wearing him down. And to be honest with you, Greg, when when you look at the situation, you're like, God, these guys got to be gassed. They had to be, and they were gassed. And then you had the just terrible series there, where they took Estime out of the game and had the first down blow up and the second down screen that was almost picked off, and it was disaster. And so I think he felt like we got the hot hand, we're wearing them down, we're in control of the game, the defense is playing well. But I agree with you, I just don't like it. And look, if you score 0 points in the first half, Greg, 0, right? That's not good. You got to figure out ways to get some points. And so I don't know. I don't know. I think we have to hope that they learn something. And I think they will. And I think next Saturday when they go play Duke, we're going to see a different offense. I'm almost certain we will. And then we'll just see what happens. But I think that is concerning. You have a very good, valid point with there. But I'm just as concerned about how you can have 10 men on the field for the last 2 plays of the game. I think that's just as egregious. I don't know. It is what it is. So
okay. So I'm gonna address this comment.
Yeah.
Just because I want to. How can you say OSU is no good? Last week, they shut down Western Kentucky's passing attack that was #1 in football last year. Give credit to your opponent, man, without sour grapes. First of all, it's not sour grapes. If I don't think that they're the great shakes, then I don't think they're the great shakes. And here's another thing, okay? If they miss that 4th and 1 or that last play that they got by an inch with Notre Dame having 10 players on the field, if they miss that, then you are on another stream for Ohio State complaining how Ryan Day is terrible and the team is no good. So don't come in here and act like your team is the greatest thing ever. Okay, because they're not. And neither is Notre Dame, is my whole point. Yeah. Okay. And so that's the thing. Okay. Your quarterback threw an interception to lose the game that Notre Dame dropped. And if that hadn't happened, you'd be so mad. So please. And you wouldn't be coming in here telling me about your great football team. So just don't. Don't pretend that this was a great football game. It was.
Where is that Ohio State idiot that was on saying that the Notre Dame was going to get boat raced by whatever, dude.
I just don't. I'm being honest.
You got gifted a game. You literally got gifted a game.
I'm being honest about it.
Yeah.
Okay. Like it just didn't. It didn't look good for either team.
I think that they're pretty good teams, though. I do think both teams are top 10 teams right now.
I think they have a good defense, for sure. And it was like someone else came on the thing. Like there was someone on the live stream. Jamie and I talked to everything that we said about Ohio State and the questions we had about them were absolutely correct. We're absolutely right. And Notre Dame just didn't do the thing.
Yeah.
So no, Paven, he wasn't disagreeing. That was not a disagreement. Okay. He said it was sour grapes, and it wasn't sour grapes. It was my honest assessment. I don't think they were that good, and I don't think Notre Dame was that good. Okay. It was a hard-fought football game for sure against 2 good teams with good players, good coaches, good everything. Okay.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a great game. And so yeah. No. No. We're not doing that. I don't like personal attacks.
Well, it looks like I just got attacked there. What was that?
No, I got it.
Did you?
I don't like that. I don't like personal attacks like that.
I just don't understand. I think I'm the one who's being more positive than you.
Well, I'm upset.
I know you're upset.
That's good.
Apparently,
that's good.
Even when I'm not being negative, I'm a negative guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
It is what.
All right. So, do you have anything else you want to say, Mike? Before we go?
No, I mean, I do. It's kind of like, and I hate to say this, after the 2005 USC loss, I sat there and I said, you know what? And I probably shouldn't say this because it didn't turn out like I had thought.
Right, exactly.
But I thought, I feel pretty darn good about it, even though they lost the game, because I just like where they're headed as far as the culture of this. I really like that. It did not turn out well. It did not turn out well with Charlie Weiss after 2005, but I think it's going to be different with Marcus Freeman. Again, I think you probably had an inexperienced offensive coordinator who probably got caught up in the moment a little bit and just wasn't quite doing what he thought. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I totally understand why everybody's upset. I'm just as frustrated. You can ask Greg. When I got on this thing, I was very, very angry, and I'm still angry because I do think that there were some mistakes made. There absolutely was some mistakes made, but at the end of the day, they played well. They played hard. They should have won the game. They just didn't do the things they needed to at the end to win the game. But you know what? Tyrone Willingham used to say, we're one play away. But guess what? You never made the play. And it never happened. He'd say it every week. We're one play away. We're 2 plays away from winning that game. Sooner or later, you have to make the plays. And if you're ever going to get to be the consistent top 5 team that everybody wants Notre Dame to be, your team has to make these plays. And they haven't done it enough recently. I'm hoping that that's going to be fixed moving forward. I saw a lot of things to be encouraged about by this team, but I also saw some things, like Greg pointed out, some things to be concerned about. And we just have to hope that these coaches can fix it in a short order, because I'm telling you, the next 3 games are not going to be easy. I think Louisville's better than I thought, and Duke is certainly better than I thought. And SC is going to score on anybody. And everybody's like, well, their defense sucks. Well, maybe their defense sucks, but, if you still have to score 45 points to beat them, you better figure it out. And everybody said USC's defense sucked last year. Well, look how that worked out for Notre Dame. It didn't work out very well. So I don't know. That's just my final thoughts on everything. What do you got, Greg?
I just think they need to decide if they're going to be like a real offense with a real passing game that's explosive and that enhances the running game, or if it's just going to be like this thing where whoever your quarterback is, it just doesn't matter. And we're just going to be going to be running 12 and 13 all the time.
It was kind of a Wisconsin type of situation. You know what I mean?
Totally. Totally.
Yeah.
It absolutely was. And like the stats said it. They threw the ball less with Sam Hartman than they did last year with Tyler Buchner.
Yeah.
And that can't be the case. You cannot prepare to win a game against a team like Ohio State with that. You can't. And so that needs to get figured out. Yep. And they need to find a way in the big games now. Because look, you're no longer playing Central Michigan and the like you're playing good teams now.
Yeah.
Okay. Duke's undefeated. Louisville's undefeated.
Yeah.
USC is undefeated. You have to find a way to create chaos on defense, like more than
it's just the pass rush. It was non-existent the entire game until the end. And then all of a sudden, when it shows up at the end on 3rd and 19, you decide not to do it. I just don't get that. I still don't get that decision. I'll never understand that decision, because it finally looked like they were getting to him. They were rocking him. They were forcing him into some bad decisions. And then you play passive defense. And, and Marcus Freeman said, hey, we're not here. We're not here just to, not lose the game. Well, guess what? That 3rd and 19, that was to play not to lose. That was not to play to win. That's to play not to lose. And that's what happens when you play not to lose. And hopefully they learn from that. Yeah. Well, Greg, it was good to see you, my good friend. And, hopefully I'll be on these moving forward here now that I got all my stuff taken care of. So
Absolutely. Yeah. And we'll do
and we
that.
missed the Yama. We really missed the Yama.
Jamie might be on. I talked to him. He might be on for the morning after recap tomorrow.
Okay.
So we'll see.
Okay.
If his internet is good enough. He said it wasn't very good where he was today, but if it's better, he'll be on the morning after recap. So you're gonna want to catch that. I'll be on.
We want the Yama.
9:30 Eastern time. We'll look at stats. We'll look at numbers, and I'll be a little bit less. Probably, I'll be a little bit less fired up.
I hear you, buddy.
Not that I don't know. I'll do my best, but that's what I'll do. So 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific. I'll be back on talking about the game. So thank you everyone for tuning in. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the show. Please hit the like button, and please hit the notification bell so you know we're going live. I'll be back tomorrow morning. Have a good night, everyone, and we'll talk to you in the morning. Keep hitting and hustling.